Penelope Spencer, and I'm here to read to you on World Read Aloud Day. I am reading from the book Cricket in the Road by Michael Anthony. The passage I'm reading, the chapter I'm reading, is called The Girl and the River. There is nobody in all Ottawa who cannot remember the ferry. None save those too young to understand or too old to remember anything at all. For it had been plying the wide river even before the village itself sprang up. In those remote times when men said the river was too wide to take a bridge. But today, there is no ferry anymore. No more the precarious platform which took people and vehicles from bank to bank, nor the winch and cable which drew the ferry across the river. Indeed, if you were traveling that way, you'd be amazed by the steel bridge, which towers where the ferry used to be. And you'd have been as overjoyed as I was when I was commissioned to build the bridge. I was overjoyed and excited only until the work began. For at that point, the anger of the whole village was unleashed upon me. Everyone was bitterly opposed to me because of the ferryman. Everyone. They said I was trying to chase him off the river. They said the ferryman belonged right here in the village and had been working the ferry before I was born. Now I had come, and they did not know from where. And I found the ferry not good enough. They would see how far I'd get. I kept quiet. But I was determined to carry on with the work, for I needed a project of this size and the Ottawa River needed a bridge. I could not let the villagers frighten me away. When we began by laying the foundation on the bank, driving piles in the riverbed and cutting back the mangrove, all the time we worked, the villagers hurled abuses at us, and in the end they threatened to stop us if we did not stop. We were scared. Of course, we were scared, but fortunately they were never as good as their word, and we pushed on with our job. We kept on going relentlessly, for we were anxious to finish in the shortest time possible and clear out. We sweated from dawn till dusk, and at night we stayed tensely in the camp. We had no friends but the river itself, and the crabs in the mangrove, and the birds of passage that came and went. When, after many months, the structure began taking shape across the river and the end of our labors drew in sight, I began growing so excited I could hardly sleep at night. And it was not only because I was anxious to be rid of this place. Each time I laid my head down, I had visions of opening ceremonies and great crowd and miles of cars queuing to drive over the bridge. My bridge. This was my first opportunity, and I wanted to leave something on the face of the land. I wanted the people to see it and know that I had built it. And I wanted them to say it was the best in this part of the world. I grew so nervous for the completion that in my spare hours, I had to go far from the bridge to find peace inside me. I did not dare show myself in the village, so at such times I would take our little boat and I would row down the river, losing myself in the green wilderness beyond the village. Downriver there were tributaries where some of the village folks came to wash clothes. The water was very clean in this part, and there was a big flat stone on the bank. I often came here and sat on the stone when no one was around, and I would let my mind wander from place to place, to Port of Spain, my hometown, to the problem of this place, and to where and what I'd been sent to next. Very often my thoughts would dwell on this village here, and I would wonder what it was really like, and I would ask myself whether these angry people would change their minds and be pleased when the bridge was finished. I would think about all these things, and after about an hour or so, I would get back into the boat and row towards the Mother River again, then upstream towards the bridge. One day, arriving at the stone earlier than usual, I met a young lady scrubbing clothes. I was going to turn back, but she looked up and saw me, so I said, "Afternoon." "Afternoon, Mr. Dankler." I could not remember seeing the face before, but the young lady knew my name. They were all knew my name in the village, it seemed. "Doing some hard work?" "Yes," she said. She was poorly dressed and she seemed anxious for me to leave, but it was the closest I had got to one of these villagers for a long time, and she seemed a gentle type. I wanted to talk. I was interested to know whether she, too, thought the bridge was the work of the devil. I said, "The water clean here? That's why we just wash here," she said. This drew my attention to the large heap of clothes she had already washed, but there were still larger heaps waiting to be done. "You could do this all day?" "Might," she said, "but if not, I'll have to come back tomorrow." She paused a little, her hands frothy with soap. She looked at the remaining bundle and she looked around at the vast water stirring around her. I said, "Tide coming in." Yeah, it looks so. It must be getting later. I better finish to go." She resumed washing and I pretended that I did not notice in her words the invitation for me to leave. I would not leave until I had asked her about the bridge. She took up another piece of clothes from the bundle. I looked at the heap. She really seemed to be confronting a heavy task, and I thought that if I could say anything to make it lighter, I would. I looked at her. She was busily washing and not looking at me, but I would see she was conscious of my being there. I said, "You know, I wish I was you. This place so quaint, so quiet. I like this. I like to work in this quietness and peace." She said, "In Ottawa, it have too much quietness and peace." "Too much quietness and peace? But that's what I'm looking for." "I don't mean so," she chuckled. "I mean the place itself, you know? But tell me, you find here too dull? What's the village like?" Well, there's nothing much to do in Ottawa, but I like here." Now I brought the boat right up to the stone as I stepped onto the bank. She said anxiously, "Mr. Dankler." I was quickly back into the boat and about to push off. She couldn't help laughing at me. I said, "It's all right. I don't want you to get in any trouble for me. I have enough myself already." She said, "No, it's not that. It's not that. It wouldn't look good if anybody see you here. You know what people give? And especially..." I know, especially as they want my head in the village. You think I don't know what the position is?" She couldn't stop laughing. Then she said, "Don't think I am against you. I realize you're only doing your job." Well, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Because nobody else seemed to realize that. She said nothing. I continued. "After all, I'm only a government servant come to build a bridge. I don't want to put anybody out of work." She kept on washing. "Don't worry about that," she said. And after a while, she added, "I see you nearly finished. Praise God." I said, feeling relief. She chuckled. "I know how happy you'll be to leave here." I'm not so sure about that. Strange, but this place seemed to be growing on me. I like this sort of life, you know, the trees and the rivers and the birds. Somehow, I'm growing to like this wilderness. I said, "Once the Ottawa people leave me alone, that is." She smiled. She was rinsing out the clothes now. She said quietly, "I too. this place growing on me. So you don't belong here then? I was surprised. Well, yes and no. I'm from here, but I spend almost most of my life in Grande, Sandy Grande. But since Pa isn't working now, I'm back here helping him out. But you couldn't work in Sandy Grande and still help him out? She hesitated a little and said, but I want to be here too. He's so depressed. She was looking at the river. And where you work now? Right here. I just looked at her and I could not say anything. Inside I felt shocked. I felt shocked. At first I thought that this young lady was just the elder sister in a family taking charge of the week's washing. I did not know that she washed other people's clothes so that she and her father could live. After a few moments, I left the girl and her washing, and with a depressed feeling, I rode down into the Mother River and then into our quarters. I watched the great structure towering across the river before me, and for once, I did not feel any pride. Why was life so ironical? I thought. Here across the river rose an engineer's dream of success. And yet, on this very river, there was also the distress and even humiliation of a young girl. That night, as I began telling my foreman the story of the girl, I noticed he fell into an unusual silence. What's the matter? You know the girl? No, but that doesn't make any difference. I just feel that for a young person, the life she's leading is hell. So you having regrets? Regrets about what? I mean, I don't get your point. My foreman turned and looked at me and said, no, don't give me that. Shallow, don't try to play you don't know what's happening. You mean something special happening? Something besides... He was laughing heartily. Afterwards he said, anyway, the point is we came here to build a bridge and we almost finished it. This place more than need a bridge, and even the ferryman himself will realize this in the end. Although everybody vexed like hell now. But to come back to this girl, I can't believe you don't know her, because she belonged to right over there. In a sense, she's doing the job because of the bridge. But what the hell? The old man won't last long, and she can't go back to Sandy Grande and look for a job. Let's face it, the old man couldn't do that job much longer anyway. Just imagine your father, a man about 80, pushing a donkey off a plank across a river. The end.